Hi there, welcome back. So with the Super Bowl just a few weeks away, thought this would be a good week to talk a little bit about football. So let's go back to 1976. The Dallas Cowboys took on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Super Bowl X. And that game was remembered for being one of the most exciting of all Super Bowl games. Real Steelers fans can still give you the play-by-play of Lynn Swann's heroics and the steel curtain defense in that game. And it was the game that began the rivalry between the two storied franchises. But football fans weren't the only ones who were tuned into that game. Back in the lab, psychological research was being conducted on the fans of each team. So throughout the game, researchers were analyzing the fans' opinions of the cause of each play, the good ones and the bad ones. And they found an interesting pattern. Overwhelmingly, people attributed their team's success to be the result of a great strategy or athletic talent. But when the opposition did well, they actually minimized the influence of skill and attributed the good play to luck or the referee's incompetence. Likewise, when the team performed poorly, fans of each side attributed that play to situational factors rather than a lack of talent or a lack of skill. While Steelers fans were celebrating that win, behavioral scientists were exploring this duality of irrational perceptions that we have about ourselves and the world. Science tells us that the brain is wired in such a way that it makes us really susceptible to some cognitive biases and natural reactions that actually prevent objectivity. And one of those biases is called fundamental attribution error, and it applies to us as individuals as well as to our social groups. It's also known as correspondence bias, and it's the brain's tendency to place greater emphasis on situational factors when we make a mistake or fail in some way, while attributing failure or mistakes to the character or personality in others. Here's another example. You have a lunch meeting with your boss at 12:30. So you schedule a meeting with a new customer at 11:30, which should give you plenty of time. You arrive at the customer meeting on time, but he's not there. You wait until about 11:40, and now you're starting to get irritated. Finally, you get a text from him saying he's running late, he'll be right there. You need this new customer, but who does he think he is? How rude. He has no respect for your time. He finally shows up, you meet with him, and then you race to the restaurant to meet with your boss. But you're 15 minutes late. You explain that you're late because the customer was late. This is a classic example of fundamental attribution error. You attributed the causality of the customer's tardiness to his personality or his character. He's thoughtless, he's rude, he's disrespectful. But you attribute your own tardiness to a situation beyond your control, situational factors. There's a wealth of research on fundamental attribution error as it perpetuates prejudice and stereotyping. And now we're doing more and more studies that show these same effects, but with nationalities and ethnicities instead of teams or smaller social units. See, when members of our group make a mistake, it's an accident or an anomaly. But when members of another group make a mistake, it's just so typical of them. That's how they are. Unfortunately, fundamental attribution error is a natural tendency for the brain, so it happens to all of us. The best way to overcome this cognitive bias is to be aware of it and recognize it when it happens. Now you know. If you want to learn more about how the brain works and how to make it work better for you, check out my book, Happy Hour with Einstein. And remember, life is always better when you share the good stuff.